I was smiling, trying to believe that this wedding was my daughter's new beginning, when my granddaughter Mia pulled my hand tightly. Her teary eyes handed me a folded piece of paper. "Grandma, read it now. Mommy said so. Daddy is acting strange, and I'm scared." At that moment, my heart froze. I saw Mia's little eyes full of fear and didn't know what to say. "What do you mean, my little one?" I thought, confused. Until I opened the paper with trembling hands and almost fainted when I read those words. But for you to understand well, I'll tell you from the beginning of this plot. It was my daughter Rachel's wedding day. The hall was lit with crystal chandeliers, tables adorned with white roses, and the scent of expensive perfume mingled with the dishes the waiters served. From the outside, it looked like a fairy tale. But inside, something wasn't right. I watched Rachel, beautiful in her embroidered wedding dress, smiling at everyone as if she were the happiest woman in the world. But I know my daughter. I've known her every look since she was a baby. And in that smile, there was something hidden, a shadow of weariness and sadness. "Mom, don't just stand there with that serious expression. Enjoy the moment," she said, giving me a quick hug before moving on to take more photos. "Of course, daughter." "Of course," I replied, forcing a smile, but inside I felt a pang in my heart. As everyone laughed, toasted, and took pictures, my eyes fell on Mia, my 9-year-old granddaughter. She was trying to play with a doll she'd brought in her bag, but she was strangely quiet. Mia had never been like that. She was a child full of energy. That made my chest tighten even more. I looked at Logan, the groom. He walked around the room with a world-shattering air, greeting guests, toasting champagne, displaying that practiced charm that enchanted everyone. But to me, there was something false about that smile. I can't explain it. It was as if he wore a mask the whole time. One of the bridesmaids walked past me, smiling. "Evelyn, your daughter is radiant. You must be very happy." "Yes, very happy," I replied, but I felt my voice crack. Deep down, my heart screamed that something was wrong. It was as if a voice was telling me, "Open your eyes, Evelyn. Today may not end the way everyone expects." And it was in this atmosphere of celebration on the outside and restlessness on the inside that I noticed Mia's eyes fixed on me. It was as if she wanted to tell me something too big for a child to carry alone. I was there, sitting at table number 6, observing every detail of the wedding. The soft music of the band filled the room. The clinking of glasses mingled with the laughter of the guests, but inside me a heavy silence reigned. It was then that I felt a small tug on the sleeve of my dress. I looked down and saw Mia. Her little brown eyes, always so lively, were filled with tears. She was trembling. "Grandma," she whispered, almost voiceless, "I need to give you something. It's from Mommy." My heart raced. I bent down a little to be at her level. "What's wrong, my love? Why are you like that?" She looked around, as if afraid someone would hear, and squeezed my hand tightly. Then she quickly tucked a folded piece of paper into it. "Please, Grandma, read it now. It's very important. Mommy asked for it. Daddy's acting strange around her." For a moment, I froze. I felt a wave of heat rise to my face. I glanced at Rachel, who was across the room posing for pictures with Logan. She was smiling, but her eyes were heavy, almost dull. Logan held her waist like he was holding a trophy, not a woman. I took a deep breath and turned my gaze to Mia. "My angel, what is this? Why didn't Mommy tell me anything?" "She couldn't. She said only you would understand." Mia lowered her head, her little hands sweating in mine. With trembling hands, I unfolded the paper. Each fold felt like it weighed a ton. When I finally managed to open it, my world stopped. The words were written hastily, in Rachel's unmistakable handwriting. "Mom, if I say yes, Logan will take me away to Nevada tonight. He wants to keep me away from everyone. I'm sick again, but he won't let me talk. I think, Brooke, The godmother is involved in this. I heard a strange conversation between them. Take care of Mia. Please don't let them take her. I felt my legs weaken. I almost dropped the paper. I put my hand to my mouth to hold back a sob that threatened to escape. No, it can't be true, I muttered to myself. Mia tugged hard on my arm as if to bring me back to the present. Grandma, do you understand? He wants to take me away today. I heard him talking on the phone. I looked straight into her eyes. I'd never seen so much fear in a child. Her heart was beating so fast I could feel it when I hugged her. Oh my God, Mia! Where did you hear that? Last night. I went to Mommy's room and heard him saying to someone else, "Today everything ends. Tomorrow we'll be far away from here." Then Mommy called me and told me to write down what she said. I did everything right. My whole body shivered. I wanted to get up, run to Rachel, shake her, and ask her why she was hiding this from me. But there were hundreds of people in that room. I had to be careful. Listen, my love, I said, trying to keep my voice calm. You're safe here with me. No one will take you away from me. I promise. Do you really promise, Grandma? His eyes filled with tears. I promise with all my soul. She took a deep breath, as if that oath was the only thing keeping her going. I folded the paper again and hid it in my dress pocket. I looked around. The room was beautiful, but suddenly, everything seemed fake to me. The flowers, the lights, the music, everything was a mask hiding a nightmare. With every step Logan took across the room, I watched him with new eyes. He laughed loudly, toasted, kissed Rachel on the cheek, but only one feeling grew inside me: fear, and anger. How dare he wear that cynical smile while plotting something so cruel? Mia held my hand the whole time, as if she was afraid I would disappear. Grandma, what if he realizes I gave you the paper? She asked softly. He won't notice, honey. Trust me. Now you stay by my side. Don't let go. At that moment, Rachel's eyes met mine. For a split second, her smile disappeared. I saw in her a silent cry for help, and it tore me apart. My daughter was in danger, and I didn't have the strength to openly ask for help. Little by little, I realized that the piece of paper wasn't just a warning. It was a cry of despair. Rachel was trying to warn me any way she could, using her own daughter as a messenger. I felt tears trickle down my face, but I swallowed the pain. I couldn't appear weak, not in front of Mia. It'll all be okay, my girl, I whispered, squeezing her hand. Grandma's here, and when Grandma promises, she keeps her word. She hugged me tightly, and in that embrace, I realized the gravity of it all. It wasn't just a note. It was the lives of my daughter and granddaughter at stake. As the room continued to celebrate, with toasts and laughter, I could no longer hear anything. The paper burned in my pocket, and every glance I cast at Logan only deepened my certainty. Something terrible was about to happen that night, and I, Evelyn, would have to act. Logan moved around like a mayor on the campaign trail. He shook hands, took pictures, joked with the kids, and called each waiter by name as if he were close to everyone. Evelyn! He came up to me, his white teeth in a practiced smile. We're living the dream, aren't we? Your daughter deserves the world. She does, I replied. I just hope the world you promised doesn't come with locked doors. He let out a short chuckle, tilting his face, measuring my words. You're witty. I like that. Let's toast later. And he left as quickly as he arrived, leaving a trail of expensive perfume and something that made my neck shiver. Control. I turned my eyes to Rachel. The makeup artist was touching up her lipstick, and she nodded absently. When the makeup artist left, I saw her hand discreetly fumble in her bag. She was searching for something. She touched her stomach, took a deep breath, and straightened her shoulders. I noticed she was paler than before. I walked over to her. Daughter, is everything okay? Mom, I'm just a little dizzy. It's the excitement. He smiled small. Do you want water? Do you want to sit down? Logan said it's nothing, that I get anxious and make up symptoms. The sentence went into me like ice. Make up symptoms? Rachel, you know how you feel. I know. She looked away. But today is his day too. I don't want to ruin anything. His day. That kept coming back to me. A man who marries a sick woman doesn't say, my day. He says, our care. Minutes later, Logan reappeared with 2 glasses. Rach, just 1 sip. It'll give you color. No, love, better not. A quick toast. The photographers are waiting for a candid moment. He whispered through gritted teeth, still smiling at the camera. I'm not feeling... Rach. His smile didn't change, but his voice hardened. I saw it. I heard it. Just 1 sip. I stepped forward and took the glass from his hand. She said no. He kept his smile plastered on his face and looked at me as if sizing up an opponent. Sure, mother-in-law. Whatever you prefer. He downed the glass in a single gulp, raising it to the guests who were applauding anything. Rachel curled her fingers around the bouquet. Thank you, Mom, she said, almost silently. I hugged her shoulders. I felt her bones. My little girl was too thin. Next, I noticed small gestures that, in isolation, would seem like nothing. Logan, helping Rachel walk, but squeezing her arm too tightly. Logan interrupting any conversation she tried to have alone with me. Always. Rach, come here a second, or, honey, they need you for a photo. Logan taking her cell phone to put in my jacket. It's safer. Logan explaining to the guests that Rachel is a little sensitive. She gets nervous. But everything is perfect. Sensitive how? I asked him when he had the audacity to say it in front of me. Oh, you know. Strong women have their dramas too. He guided Rachel by the elbow, a little too firmly, and smiled at a group. Nothing a marriage can't cure. A marriage doesn't cure illness, I thought, biting my tongue to keep from spitting out the truth. Mia appeared beside me without making a sound. Grandma, he took Mommy's phone again. I saw it, my love. I held her hand. Stay with me. At the buffet, a kind waitress offered shrimp. I automatically turned the plate away from Mia, remembering her allergy, and thanked her. Logan, who seemed to be everywhere at once, burst in behind us. Never mind, never mind. Today is the day to try new things. Not with a child with allergies, I replied dryly. And Rachel doesn't need to prove anything to anyone either. He raised his hands theatrically. Peace, peace. Only joy. Mother-in-law. Mother-in-law. He called me that, as if marking his territory. Rachel came back from the photos with her bouquet a little askew, and her lipstick smudged in the corner. Mom, do you have a mirror? I handed it to her. She opened it, and I saw her hand tremble. I took out a tissue and wiped away the lipstick. Up close, I noticed dark circles hidden by concealer, her skin cool. Did you take your medication? I whispered. She hesitated. I think so. Logan saved it for me. He said I didn't need it today. Didn't need it. My voice rose a little. Your doctor is the one who decides that, not your fiancé. She bit her lip. We'll talk later, Mom, please. Later, I saw Logan talking on his cell phone, standing off to the side, near the windows. His face was serious. None of that commercial smile. I approached slowly. Yes, today, after the party. Everything's ready, he said. When he saw me, his tone changed. Dear mother-in-law, come see the view. He hung up unceremoniously. All ready for what, Logan? For our surprise honeymoon, of course. He winked. Nevada is beautiful at night. The word Nevada rang like an alarm. The note burned in my pocket. A trip without telling her mother? Strange. Surprises keep love alive, and secrets tend to kill it. He laughed. You're sharp. I like that. As he left, Brooke, the godmother, approached with worried eyes. Ms. Evelyn, are you okay? I am? And you? I just wanted to tell you that Rachel is strong. Why are you telling me this? She swallowed hard. Because sometimes we need to remember. And she walked away quickly, as if she regretted having opened her mouth. When I looked up, Logan was already in the center of the room, demanding attention. "Everyone, let's give it up for the woman of my life," he announced, pulling Rachel by the arm with studied elegance. "She saved me, taught me to believe." Applause, photos, lights. Rachel smiled, but her eyes were begging for rest. He spun her around in a dance step, and for a second, she lost her balance. I instinctively leaned forward, ready to catch her. Logan laughed to the audience, pretending it was part of the choreography. The music returned. The hall's euphoria returned, and behind every burst of laughter, I saw seams opening. Masks shone. And I, who already had the note and the suspicion, was now certain. Behind his charm lay a hand that squeezed, an eye that watched, a mouth that kept silent. My daughter was weak, my granddaughter frightened, and that man, surrounded by applause, was the conductor of a dangerous song. I wasn't going to let the song get to the last chord. That's when it happened. Rachel stood to toast a group of guests. She held her champagne flute with a trembling hand, trying to maintain her elegance. But suddenly, her expression changed. Her smile disappeared, her eyes lost in space, and her skin became even paler than the lace of her dress. "Daughter?" I called, standing up. She clutched her chest, staggered back a step, and nearly collapsed to the floor. The guests gasped in a chorus of alarm. Logan, ever the performer, ran to her and grabbed her arm. But I saw no concern in his eyes, only irritation. "Rachel, what's this? Don't make a big deal out of it now," he whispered through gritted teeth, still smiling at the audience as if nothing were serious. I moved closer, pushing away some curious onlookers. "She's not okay, Logan. You need to sit down now." I supported Rachel and led her to the nearest chair. She was sweating coldly, breathing heavily. I grabbed a napkin and wiped her forehead. "Calm down, daughter. I'm here. Breathe with me." "Mom, I don't know what's happening. I'm dizzy. My vision is black," she murmured, almost without strength. Logan crouched down beside her, but his fake smile wasn't fooling anyone anymore. "Honey, you just haven't eaten right. It's anxiety. You always do that." I turned to him angrily. "No, Logan, anxiety doesn't make someone almost faint like that." "This is serious." He forced a laugh at the still watching guests. "It's okay, everyone. The bride just got a little emotional." Rachel closed her eyes, and I felt a desperation rise within me. I needed answers. Something told me that note and that scene were connected. Later, when she'd recovered a bit and Logan had returned to the party, I took the opportunity to discreetly grab her purse from behind the table. It wasn't curiosity. It was maternal instinct. I opened it slowly, hiding the gesture with my body. Inside, I found my makeup bag, an embroidered handkerchief, and, underneath, a folded manila envelope. My heart raced. I carefully pulled the envelope out and opened it, and there was the truth that no one else knew. There was a series of recent medical tests, dated just days before the wedding. Blood counts, signed reports, even a biopsy request. I didn't understand all the technical terms, but one word in red caught my attention. Recurrence. I felt a shock run through my body. It can't be. Not now. I flipped through it quickly, my hands shaking. There it was. Rachel was sick again. That terrible disease we thought we'd beaten had returned. I closed my eyes for a moment, choking back tears. My daughter was struggling alone, hiding this from me and the world. And, worse, next to a man who seemed more concerned with the party's appearance than her life. Rachel opened her eyes slowly and saw me with the envelope in my hand. "Mom." Her voice was weak. "You shouldn't have seen this." "How could you not, Rachel? You're sick again and you didn't tell me. How could you keep this from me?" She held my hand lightly. "Logan, he said no one needed to know now. That I should wait. That if I told you, it would ruin the wedding." Her words cut through my heart like a knife. Logan knew. He knew everything. And yet he forced that spectacle, as if nothing mattered. "Daughter, you don't have to face this alone. I'll be with you, you hear? No matter what he says," Rachel cried softly, resting her head on my shoulder. "I'm scared, Mom. I'm so scared." I hugged my daughter with all the strength I had left, and I silently swore that, no matter what, I wouldn't let Logan destroy her. As the party continued with music and laughter in the background, I held those exams against my chest, feeling the weight of a truth that would change everything. At that moment, I knew the mask had slipped. The wedding might have been a fairy tale for the guests, but for us, it was the harbinger of war. I looked at the crumpled exam papers in my hand and at my pale daughter, trying to smile at the guests as if nothing were happening. I felt a lump rising in my throat. Enough, I thought. They won't silence my daughter today. The master of ceremonies tapped the microphone with his fingers. "Attention, please, time for the vows." The band lowered its volume. The guests gathered on the terrace overlooking the bay. Logan straightened his tie and extended his arm to Rachel. I saw her hesitate for half a second, and it was in that half a second that I made my decision. I walked to the center, taking the microphone from the master of ceremonies before he could understand. "Excuse me, I need to speak." A murmur went through the room. Logan smiled, but his eyes burned. "Mother-in-law, what a surprise. Now, isn't it better?" "Yes, it is." I held on tight. "It is now." I took a deep breath and spoke loudly. "For everyone to hear, my daughter is not well, and there are things that need to be said before any yes." "Evelyn, please," Rachel whispered, clutching the bouquet. "I love you, daughter. That's exactly why." I held up the folded paper. This note was given to me by Mia. It says, "If I say yes, he'll take me away today. I'm sick again, and he won't let me talk." Several "oh my gods" escaped the audience. Logan stepped forward, his smile plastered on, his voice as sweet as burnt sugar. "Guys, this is a misunderstanding. Miss Evelyn is nervous. Rachel sometimes overreacts." "Are you exaggerating?" My voice trembled, but I didn't give in. Exaggerating is an understatement for someone who hides medical exams and pressures for proxies on their wedding day. I felt the room hold its breath. I pulled my phone out of my pocket and showed the screen. On the back of the note, there's a QR code. It's Rachel's voice, recorded this morning. If my daughter can't speak, I'll speak for her, and with her voice. I put the audio on speakerphone. The silence grew thick. "Mom, if you listen, Logan wants me to sign the medical power of attorney. He said if I faint, he'll decide. I asked Mia to bring you the note. I'm scared." The collective "ah" cut through the air. Rachel clapped her hand over her mouth. Logan tried to laugh. "Bad joke. Anyone could make a recording like that. Does anyone also ask a godmother to exchange pills?" I turned my head and searched for the fleeing eyes. Brooke? She paled, frozen, staring at the floor. Logan glared at her. "Say something, Brooke," he said through gritted teeth, still smiling for the cameras. I... Her voice broke. "You what?" I took a step forward. Why did my daughter almost fall just now? Why is her medication missing from her bag? Who kept her phone with her the whole time? Brooke closed her eyes, 2 tears falling. He asked me to hold the capsules today. He said it was so Rachel wouldn't erase them in the photos. I just wanted to help." "Help who?" I asked. "Him," she whispered, trembling. A chorus of disapproval ran through the tables. Rachel took a step back, as if the world were slipping away from her. I took her hand. Logan raised his palms in a gesture of control. "Guys, calm down. I have the documents here. It's all standard. Emergency power of attorney, responsibility, organization. I'm the only one who knows how to handle her when she gets like this." "What makes you sick?" I replied. "Because the name for that is illness, not drama. And the one who decides on treatment is a doctor, not a hasty husband." I held up another envelope. "These are the scans from 3 days ago. The word recurrence is here in red. The bride needs a hospital, not hashtags." An aunt crossed herself. Someone said, "Call an ambulance." The master of ceremonies moved his hands around, unsure of where to place them. The band fell silent. "What about Mia's custody?" I asked, facing Logan. "Why tell him you're leaving tonight, crossing state lines, and changing emergency contacts? Whose interest is it to keep mother, daughter, and grandmother apart?" He laughed, but his forehead was sweating. "Paranoia. We're talking honeymoon, Nevada, lights, love. Love doesn't ask for a signature in a hurry and doesn't hide a medical report," I replied. Rachel, her eyes brimming with tears, finally spoke softly. "Logan, you were going to take me today, without my mom, without telling my doctor. Rach, I take better care of you than anyone. Your mom just gets in the way, fills you with ideas." "Enough!" Rachel's voice suddenly came out firm. "Enough!" I squeezed her hand, feeling my strength return. "Daughter, do you want to continue?" She shook her head, crying. "I want to go to the hospital." The guests parted. Logan tried to take her arm. I stepped in between. "Don't even think about it," he whispered. "You're not in charge. I'm her mother. And today I'm stopping." I returned to the microphone. "I ask that someone call 911, and please, hotel security. This man does not come near my daughter without consent." 2 security guards, discreet until then, stepped forward. Logan gave a tight smile. "This is ridiculous. Are you going to believe this act?" It was in this tense moment that I noticed Brooke, the godmother, sweating. She huddled in a corner, avoiding my eyes. I knew something was up. "Brooke," I called loudly, firmly, so everyone could hear. "You were with Rachel the whole time today, weren't you?" She froze. Logan quickly stepped forward. "Please don't involve Brooke in this. She only wanted to help with the wedding. She's a loyal friend." But Brooke lifted her head, and her teary eyes said otherwise. Shaking, she whispered, "I can't do it anymore." "What can't you do, Brooke?" I insisted, moving closer to her. "Say it out loud. Look at everyone here and tell the truth." Logan placed his hand on her shoulder, squeezing it surreptitiously. "Honey, don't let yourself be manipulated. You know it's just a mess." Brooke closed her eyes, took a deep breath, and pushed his hand away. "No, Logan, enough." The audience fell silent. She brought her hands to her face for a moment, wiping away the tears, and then faced everyone, her voice trembling but clear. "It was him, Logan. He told me to switch Rachel's pills. He said it was so she wouldn't look weak in front of everyone. I didn't want to, but he threatened me." A shock went through the room. I heard people murmur, "Switch the meds." "My God, this is a crime." Rachel's eyes widened, staggering. "What? Brooke? Did you mess with my medication?" Brooke cried. "Forgive me, Rachel. I was just scared of him. He said if I didn't do it, he'd tell my boss about my past. He pinned me against the wall and told me it was either that or I was ruined." Logan stepped forward, trying to muffle the confession. "That's a lie. She's making it up. Everyone knows that girl has always been unstable. She's making a fuss to get attention." "Drama," I shouted, unable to contain myself. "My daughter almost fainted. And now we know why. Because you left her without the medicine she needs." Rachel brought her hands to her mouth, sobbing. "So that was it. That's why I was getting worse. Logan, how could you?" He stretched out his arms, trying to calm her down. "Honey, I only wanted the best for you. I wanted to show the world the strong bride I know. I didn't want anyone to look at you with pity. I couldn't take it anymore. You wanted to show an image, Logan, not save her life. You sacrificed Rachel's health for your own pride." Brooke fell to her knees, crying. "I swear I didn't know it would be this bad. I thought it was just different vitamins. He said it wouldn't hurt." "It wouldn't hurt," my voice echoed through the room. What if my daughter had fallen and hit her head? What if she hadn't survived? That's not carelessness, it's planned cruelty. Some of Logan's relatives stood up, trying to defend him. There must be a mistake. He would never do that. But Brooke lifted her phone, her hand trembling, and opened her messages. "It's all here. The audios, the texts, him asking me to change the capsules, him saying he needed the power of attorney signed today, before the trip. A deathly silence fell. Logan paled, and the practiced smile disappeared completely. Rachel, crying, turned to him. So it was true. You never loved me. You just wanted to control me. He tried to come closer, but I blocked him with my body. Don't take another step, Logan. You've already shown who you are. The guests murmured words of indignation. One lady exclaimed, "This is attempted murder." Another man added, "What kind of monster does this to his own bride?" Brooke, still on her knees, repeated, "I'm sorry, Rachel. I'm sorry, Evelyn. I was a coward. I should have spoken sooner." I reached down and grabbed her arm, pulling her to her feet. "The mistake was serious, Brooke, but the courage to tell her now could save my daughter's life. No one can take that away from you." Rachel wept silently, leaning against me. Logan looked around, lost, like an actor who'd forgotten his lines. The mask had slipped, and everyone could see the naked truth. He was no prince, but a dangerous manipulator. I glared at the salon's security guards. Don't let that man near my daughter. From now on, he's no longer in charge. And as Logan screamed that it was all a setup, that they were ruining his life, the guests backed away in disgust. Brooke's confession had been the key. No one there believed the charade anymore. At that moment, I knew the fight was far from over, but at least the truth had finally emerged from the shadows. Suddenly, the sound of the approaching siren, cutting through the San Diego night, was like a thread of hope piercing through that chaos. When the ballroom doors opened and red lights flooded the room, the guests instinctively backed away, forming a corridor. 2 paramedics rushed in, pushing the stretcher and carrying a suitcase full of equipment. "Who's the patient?" the taller man asked, already putting on his gloves. "My daughter, Rachel. She almost fainted. She's very weak. She's had recent medical tests, suspected recurrence," I said breathlessly, handing over the papers I had with me. They carefully laid her on the stretcher. Rachel held my hand tightly. "Mom, stay with me. I'm going, my love. I won't let go of you for anything." Mia tried to climb onto the stretcher too, desperate. "Don't let them take Mommy." I bent down and held her in my arms. "We'll go together, my granddaughter. I promise." The paramedics hooked Rachel up to oxygen, checked her blood pressure, and one of them whispered, "It's too low. We need to stabilize it fast." Meanwhile, Logan tried to get closer, shouting, "I'm the groom! I have the right to go!" But 2 security guards blocked his way. I glared at him with all my contained anger. "You're never going near her again." The guests watched in silence, some weeping, others murmuring indignantly. The sound of the stretcher's wheels on the marble floor echoed like a war drum. With every passing meter, I felt as if we were leaving behind a nightmare. Outside, the night wind from the bay blew in my face as the automatic doors slid open. The ambulance was parked, rear doors open, lights flashing. The paramedics lifted the stretcher and slid it inside with precision. "Just one escort up front," the driver said. I held Mia's hand tightly. "She's coming with me. She's the patient's daughter. I'll go in the back." The paramedic hesitated, but seeing the girl's desperation, he nodded. I walked in with Rachel and sat beside her. Mia sat on my lap, crying and repeating, "Mommy's not going to die, right, Grandma? She says she's not going to die." I stroked her hair. "She's not going to die, my love. Now she's going to the right place with the right people, and I'll be here the whole time." The door closed with a sharp thud. The driver turned on the siren, and the ambulance sped off, cutting through the illuminated streets of San Diego. The high-pitched sound, mixed with the pounding heartbeat, seemed to announce not the end, but the beginning of a new struggle. I held my daughter's hand with one, Mia's with the other, and whispered to myself, "As long as I breathe, no one will take you away from me." The ambulance siren was still echoing in my head when we finally arrived at the hospital. The doors slammed open, and the paramedics wheeled Rachel down the coldly lit hallway. I ran alongside the stretcher, clutching her hand with all my strength. Mia, in my arms, sobbed softly, burying her face in my shoulder. "Emergency! Room 3! Now!" one of the doctors shouted, opening the way. Rachel was pale as a sheet, her eyes lost, but she still tried to whisper, "Mom, stay with me. Don't leave me." I squeezed her hand, tears in my eyes. "I'm here, my daughter. I'll stay until the end." We were taken into a room full of equipment. The medical team worked quickly, connecting Rachel to tubes, checking her blood pressure, and administering IV fluids. I trembled just watching the needles pierce her skin. One of the doctors, Dr. Harrison, in a blue lab coat, took the test results I'd delivered in the ambulance. He read them carefully, then picked up some new paperwork the team had just printed. His expression changed. It became serious, heavy. "Mrs. Evelyn, we need to talk." I felt my legs give out. "Doctor, please don't hide anything from me. It's my daughter." He took a deep breath. "The tests show that Rachel had indeed been undergoing treatment for an autoimmune disease. Her condition was under control, but there was an irregular interruption in her medication. This caused the relapse." My heart leaped into my throat. Interruption? But she took her medication religiously. I immediately remembered Brooke's confession. My hand trembled. "They switched the pills," I whispered, swallowing hard. The doctor nodded. "That explains the sudden worsening. Without the right medication, her immune system collapsed. Her body became too fragile." Rachel cried softly on the stretcher, straining to hear. "So, that's why I passed out, isn't it? I thought it was just the stress of the wedding." Dr. Harrison looked at her compassionately. "No, Rachel. Your body couldn't handle the lack of treatment. And now, we'll need to act fast." My voice came out almost without strength. "Quick. What does that mean, doctor?" He looked at me seriously. "It means a transplant. Her situation is delicate. The tests show that medication alone is no longer enough. We need to find a compatible donor. Urgently." I felt like the ground had disappeared beneath my feet. I squeezed Rachel's hand, and she began to sob. "A transplant? But what if there's no donor?" The doctor sighed. "We'll be prioritized on the list, but we also need family members to get tested immediately. Often, compatibility comes from close blood." Mia lifted her little head, her eyes brimming with tears. "Can I help Mommy, doctor? Can I give her what she needs?" The doctor knelt before her, his voice gentle. "It's still too early for you, dear, but the love you're giving already helps a lot." I looked at Rachel, who was staring at me desperately. "Mom, what if I can't handle it? I can't leave Mia alone." I cupped her face with both hands, feeling the fragile warmth of her skin. "You're not going anywhere, you hear me? We're going to find this donor, even if I have to turn the world upside down." Rachel closed her eyes, exhausted, and tears streamed down her temples. As the team continued collecting blood for typing and racing against time, I found myself in the corner of that white room, holding my granddaughter and watching my daughter among wires, tubes, and machines. The lavish party, the fake smiles, the masks, everything was behind us. Now all that remained was the stark truth. Rachel was fighting for her life, and the only way out was an urgent transplant. I looked up at the ceiling and silently murmured, "God, don't take my daughter from me. She still has a child who needs her, and I don't have the strength to raise another orphan." And it was like that, with the beeping of the monitors filling the room, that I realized our war was just beginning. I don't know how long I stood in that white room, listening to the beeping of the monitors and the doctors' rapid orders. What I do know is that suddenly, the fragile calm that had remained shattered. Rachel began to tremble, breaking out in a cold sweat, her blood pressure plummeting again. An alarm blared louder, and 2 nurses came rushing in. "Drop blood pressure! Adjust the serum! Let's repeat the blood count!" "Rachel, look at me! Breathe! That's it, like this," said the nurse, in a firm voice. I held her hand, feeling her cold skin. "Daughter, stay with me. Stay with me, please. Mom, I'm scared." she whispered, her eyes watering. I don't want to leave. Dr. Harrison hurried in with the new results printed out. His look said it all before he even opened his mouth. Mrs. Evelyn, her condition has worsened. Her body isn't responding. We need the transplant now. And the donor? I asked, my voice breaking. Have you tested anyone yet? We're typing all the family members. We need your blood too. I reached out without thinking. The needle went in, and I barely felt it. Mia, curled up in the chair, looked at me like someone clinging to a plank in the middle of the sea. Grandma, will you get sick if you give your blood? I stroked her hair. I get strong when I take care of you. Less than an hour later, the doctor returned with a piece of paper in his hand and a subdued gleam in his eyes. Partial compatibility sufficient. Evelyn, you're our best option. We can do a haploidentical transplant. It's not the perfect scenario, but it's what we have. And now, I took a deep breath. I felt a huge weight and, at the same time, a sense of peace. Then there's no argument. I'll donate. We need your signature on the consent form, the nurse explained. We'll harvest your bone marrow in the operating room. It's a safe but invasive procedure. It may hurt later. The pain is mine. It's my daughter's life, I replied, picking up the pen. Rachel cried. Mom, no. What if something happens to you? I held her face, the same face I'd kissed on the first day of her life, so warm and small in my arms. If something happens, it will happen fighting for you and for her. I pointed at Mia. But I'll come back, and so will you. Preparations began at a frantic pace. They dressed me in an apron and a cap, took my blood pressure and checked for allergies. I signed papers like someone praying. Mia ran to me and hugged me from behind. Grandma, can I pray? Yes, my love, for the three of us. She closed her eyes and spoke softly, stumbling over simple words that held my world together. God, take care of my mom and grandma. Make it work. I promise to be brave. Brooke appeared in the doorway, swollen from crying, unable to look me in the eye. Evelyn, I can't apologize. Then do better, I said, not harshly, but without embellishment. Stay with Mia. Don't leave her alone for a second. She nodded, as if given a mission. I'll stay. I'll take care of her, I swear. In the operating room, Dr. Harrison grabbed my shoulder. We'll anesthetize you, harvest your bone marrow, and process it quickly. Another team will prepare Rachel to receive the material. Time is our enemy, but we'll do everything right. I trust you. And we're inspired by you. Few loves are so clear. I lay down on the stretcher. The cool light overhead felt like a circle pulling me in. Before I fell asleep, I felt Mia's small hand touch my palm. Grandma, I'm here. Me too, honey, I whispered. Always. The anesthesia swept me away like a gentle tide. I saw, for a second, Rachel's face as a child running in the yard, her first tooth, her first notebook, her first broken heart. I also saw today, hard and bright, begging for courage. When I woke up, my throat was dry and my back ached as if a heavy shadow had settled there. The nurse smiled behind her mask. Everything went well with you, Miss Evelyn. The collection went well. And Rachel? I tried to get up. Dizzy. Still infusing. They're finishing up. Time then turned to stone. Each minute dragged a world along. Mia slept with her head on my lap, exhausted. Brooke silently brought me water, adjusted the blanket, exchanged glances of guilt and gratitude, a difficult but true mix. Dr. Harrison returned, already without a cap, with the marks of the mask on his face. He didn't smile immediately. He bent down and spoke softly, as if returning a fragile object to its owner. The infusion is finished. She took it well. Her signals are stable. Now begins the hardest and most beautiful part, her body accepting what you gave. I cried silently. Thank you, doctor. Thank you. The credit is yours. Today, the family won. When I was allowed to see her, I walked in slowly. Rachel was pale. Yes, with wires and bandages. Yes, but there was something else in the room. A pleasant silence, like after the storm. I rested my forehead against hers. Daughter, what's mine is yours, even what I didn't know I could give. She blinked slowly, a slight, tired smile. You always gave, Mom. Today, you just signed it. Mia climbed onto the edge of the bed, carefully, the nurse making a brave face but letting her. Mommy, Grandma is very brave. I will be too. I already am, Rachel whispered. My two heroes. Mom? Rachel called, now more awake. Hi, my love. When I get out of here, we're going home. Our home, me, you, and Mia. That's all I want, I replied, kissing her forehead. And that's exactly what's going to happen. We stayed like that, the three of us, hand in hand, like someone stitching together a new hammock after it's been torn. From the hallway, I heard hurried footsteps. Someone announced that the initial scans were encouraging. I closed my eyes and, for the first time in days, breathed without fear. The days that followed were intense, as if we were living in two worlds at once. Inside the hospital, every second was a silent battle, filled with medication, tests, care, and hope. Outside, the weight of justice was finally beginning to move. Rachel was recovering slowly. The transplant had been successful, but doctors warned that the first few weeks would be critical. She was weak, sleeping most of the day, and sometimes the pain of recovery made her moan softly. I would stand by her bedside, holding her hand, telling her childhood stories, remembering when she was a little girl running around the yard with her braids flying in the wind. Mia, always present, made a point of coloring papers and pinning them to the bedroom wall. One of them read in large, crooked letters, "Mommy's coming home." That became our daily motto. But with every fragile smile from Rachel, a dark chapter also unfolded. The police had collected all the evidence of the marriage, the doctored exams, Brooke's cell phone messages, and even the recorded confession. Logan had nowhere else to run. He was arrested 3 days later, trying to fly out of state. News spread quickly. One of the detectives called me, "Miss Evelyn, he's under arrest. He's facing charges of attempted first-degree murder and tampering with medical records. The judge denied bail." I took a deep breath, feeling the weight on my shoulders lift. Thank you, officer. Thank you for not leaving my daughter without justice. When I told Rachel, she cried, not from longing, but from liberation. Mom, it feels like a weight has been lifted from my chest. I always thought I needed him, but now I see I was just trapped. I caressed her face, wiping away her tears. Sometimes, daughter, we confuse love with prison, but now you're free to live and to start over. Mia, who was sitting in the corner of the room, ran and threw herself into her mother's arms. Now he can't hurt us anymore. Right, Mommy? Rachel kissed her forehead. Never again, my angel. Never again. The weeks passed. Each day was a small victory. The fever that went down, the appetite that slowly returned, the smile that appeared again. I also felt the pain from the surgery, my back still tender, but seeing my daughter respond was the greatest healing I could receive. One day, Dr. Harrison walked in smiling, clipboard in hand. The bone marrow cells are working. Her body is accepting the transplant well. The response is positive. I stood up and hugged him tightly, tears streaming down my face. Doctor, you have no idea what this means. He smiled. Yes, I do, Mrs. Evelyn. It means your daughter has a second chance. That night, Rachel called me, her voice still weak, but firm. Mom, I've thought a lot about everything that happened. The real yes wasn't what I said at the altar. It was what you said when you decided to give part of yourself to save me. That's the yes that counts, I cried, holding her hand. My yes is love, daughter. No one can take that away from us. Mia, listening, smiled broadly and said, Then let's have another wedding. But this time with just the three of us. A family, I do. We laughed together. And in that laughter, I felt the scars begin to heal. Logan. He was gone from our lives. The man who nearly destroyed our family was behind bars, facing the justice he deserved. The luxurious salon, the false promises, and the masks had fallen. All that remained now was the truth, simple, painful, and beautiful. In the sunset-lit room, I held Rachel and Mia's hands and said softly, "This is our new yes. A yes to life, to hope, and to the love that saves." And it was in that moment that I understood. The real altar had no flowers, no music, no guests. The real altar was there, in that hospital bed where we chose to be united. And the most powerful yes we ever said was to the love that kept us alive.